Alright, I guess this is the night bitches die.
Hazbin Hotel was incredible and all of you are wrong. Okay, so obviously I just finished watching Hazbin Hotel and I absolutely loved it. And considering that the internet's reception seems to be overall more negative than positive, I decided that it is my duty to spread some positivity around the series and talk about why I think this series is absolutely fantastic. For those of you who somehow don't know about Hazbin Hotel or just haven't been following it week to week, I'll give you a quick recap. Hazbin Hotel was an indie animation produced from Spindlehorse Studios, who are also known for making Hell of a Boss, and who are spearheaded by Vivian Medrano, aka VivziePop. Back in 2019, the pilot of Vivian's series Hazbin Hotel was dropped on YouTube, and today this pilot has reached a whopping 97 million views. This took place in Hell, where the daughter of Lucifer Morningstar, Charlie Morningstar, and her girlfriend Vaggie tried to encourage dead sinners to come and join her in Charlie's Hazbin Hotel, where they can learn to become better people, atone for their sins that landed them in hell, and overall grow to trust each other, so that they can be allowed into the pearly gates of heaven. This pilot sparked the interest of millions of people and managed to gain a cult following thanks to its creative and interesting take on the biblical mythology of hell and heaven, and incredibly well designed and interesting characters. Some fan favorites were the porn star Angel Dust, who went on to get his very own music video, which has 162 million views. Fucking hell, can I have some of those? Alistair the Radio Demon, who would come to aid Charlie's endeavor while clearly having his own agenda. And Cherry Bomb, the chaotic pyromaniac who just wants to see the world explode. I like Cherry Bomb. I can't really figure out why, though. From this first episode, VivziePop was able to create a ton of side content, such as Hell of a Boss, which explores its emotionally damaged characters as they work as professional hitmen, imps, and simultaneously fleshes out VivziePop's version of Hell and how it works. Other side projects that have sprouted up are comics surrounding the main cast of Hazbin Hotel, as well as music inspired from the characters. Needless to say that people wanted more Hazbin Hotel. And 1 year after the original pilot released, the series was picked up by A24 to be made into a full 8-episode series, which would be streamed on Amazon Prime. Which brings us to today, where all 8 episodes are out and the opinion on them is mixed. But before we move on, I just want to say that if you haven't watched the series yet, I really recommend that you pause this video, go watch through those 8 episodes, and then come back to finish this video. I absolutely adored Hazbin Hotel's characters, world, and themes, and even though I can admit that there are some issues here and there, I think the positives far outweigh the negatives. So if you haven't watched it yet, I strongly recommend that you do. Or, you know, stick around and watch the video anyway. I ain't your dad. I can't tell you what to do. Firstly, let's start with the positives, because there are a lot of them and I cannot contain my excitement for this show any longer. This show looks and feels so unique and different from literally everything else out there, and a big part of that comes from the art style. The world looks like a blend of 2014's Tumblr and a ton of religious trauma. The animation and art style makes the world feel so alive and vibrant, and the character designs are actually peak! But speaking of the characters, this is definitely among the best aspects of the show. We've already seen how good VivziePop is at writing compelling characters in Hell of a Boss, so it's no surprise that Hazbin Hotel is absolutely stacked with incredibly written characters and incredibly likable characters who are absolutely filled with personality. It's important to mention that I really like every character in this main cast and most of the supporting cast, but discussing them all would take literal years. So I'm just gonna give you the highlights. For me, the best characters were without a doubt Angel Dust, Alistair, Adam, Lucifer, and Charlie. Watching the other characters have their moments, like Husk connecting with Angel with a beautiful song that speaks to there always being hope even when we are at our lowest, and that it's okay to have fucked up as long as we are willing to keep moving forward together, was also phenomenal. You know, until Twitter ruined it. But these characters just go above and beyond, with Angel being by far and away the best written character in this show, as it depicts his horrifying reality as a porn star who sold his soul to the absolutely biggest piece of shit who deserves to be stomped on repeatedly until there is nothing left but mush on the floor where he once stood. God, I've never wanted to enter a screen and throttle a character as much as I have with this asshole. Where was I? Oh, watching Angel accept his horrible situation and find a community that supports and loves him as a person and not as the sex-obsessed character that he has created genuinely touched my heart and was incredible to witness. On the complete opposite side of the spectrum, Adam was without a doubt the funniest character in this show. The main cast was able to get a chuckle out of me every now and then, but Mr. Dickmaster had me laughing out loud at the screen. But despite the humor of his character, he is also just incredibly interesting and scary. He was the first man, and he genuinely thinks that he has never ever made a mistake in his life. That is why he is in heaven, and that is why he acts like an asshole. Not because he's trying to be a prick, but because he was never punished for it. He was rewarded for being a monster with eternal bliss and angelic powers far beyond the scope of what any other human could ever dream of. He leads his angelic army and slaughters sinners because he believes that that is his right, and because he actually believes that he is doing good work. It's fun, and therefore it has to be right. But Adam is far from the most interesting character in the show, as that title easily goes to Alistair. The Radio Demon is the clear fan favorite, and it's not hard to see why. Outside of his fantastic design, he is also such an interesting character to follow. We know almost nothing about him, and most things that we do know about his personality are not told to us, but rather understood by simply watching him act. Alistair tells Charlie that a smile is a powerful tool for keeping control. We see just how well he uses this tool, as we can never quite understand what Alistair is thinking behind that smile. He is terrifying in his own right, with Eldritchian powers that scare even the other overlords, and it's clear that he is proud of that fact. He revels in the attention this power gets him, which leads him to be overconfident and proud when going up against other powerful beings such as Adam. But we still don't know the mystery behind Alistair. Why is he at the hotel in the first place? What does he want to gain from helping Charlie? Who is it that holds his leash, and why does he instantly hate Lucifer so much? Well, we don't know. But we sure can theorize. My theory is that Alistair made a deal with Lilith, which gave him his powers, but in return, Lilith owns Alistair's soul and could use him to enact her own will. Alistair obviously is not a fan of this fact, which is why 7 years ago, he tried to rebel against Lilith, with a battle between them wrecking his old radio tower. So why is he at the Hazbin Hotel helping Charlie? Well, perhaps Lilith sent her little helper to go check up on Charlie and be her protector. Or Alistair is trying to break his chain again, unclip his wings, as he says. What if the reason Alistair is at the hotel is so he can create a weapon against Lilith, so that he can turn Charlie herself with all her untapped potential against her mother and use her to break his pact, but still keep his power, and now with one more powerful being on his puppet strings. Perhaps that's why Alistair was so eager to make a deal with Charlie, so that he can cash it in at her mother's expense. Or, you know, maybe he's just horny for Lucifer and wants to get in good with his daughter. I know I am. But characters aren't the only thing that Hazbin Hotel does right. The world is obviously still a fantastic and really interesting depiction of Christian and Jewish mythology, and the story itself is genuinely interesting. Having the daughter of the devil try and redeem sinners in order to stop the angels from killing them is just an inherently really interesting concept. And building up the conflict between heaven and hell in the background throughout the episodes until episode 6, where we enter a direct conflict with the heavenly army, was absolutely fantastic. Personally, even though I found the first episode to be a little slow, I think that episodes 4, 6, and 8 were all absolutely fantastic and borderline flawless, with 4 focusing on Angel Dust's horrific reality and trauma, 6 showing the hypocrisy of heaven as they refuse to acknowledge that sinners can be redeemed, as well as giving us some incredible lore drops, such as the fact that Maggie, Charlie's girlfriend, used to be an angel, totally called it by the way, and showing us how heaven actually functions. And while we're here, can we talk about the fact that koalas somehow made it into heaven? Koalas are literally the worst animal on the planet, who are so stupid that they constantly kill themselves by eating poisonous leaves and don't even understand that literally anything else than the leaves that grow on the specific tree where they live can be food. I hate these stupid bastards, and they don't deserve heaven. No? You don't want a koala rant? Fine, let's keep moving. Meanwhile, 8 showed us the battle between the angelic army and the Hazbin Hotel crew. Seeing every character have their own moments, such as Alistair's 1v1 against Adam, Charlie finally accepts her inherited power and tearing Adam a new hole, as well as Sir Pentious sacrificing himself, which almost brought me to tears. And let me repeat that. Sir Pentious, the stupid snake supervillain who hasn't even been mentioned in this video yet, was so well characterized and written that I actually felt teary-eyed when I watched him die. Damn it, this show is peak, but it gets even peakier. More peak? Anyway, because in this episode, we get to see Lucifer absolutely shred every fraud complaint he has ever received from the fan base, as he shows everyone why he is the king of hell. Which, by the way, this show's interpretation of Lucifer was so incredibly good. Shying away from the typical charismatic and evil demon that pop culture likes to depict him as, and instead showing us that he's really just a fun-loving and goofy guy who wanted to bring free will and joy to humanity, was a stroke of genius. This is also reflected really well in his character design and powers. He has an overall circus theme and uses fun powers like portals and animal transformations to fight his enemies, but that's not all there is to him, as when he actually gets serious, you can see why the angels are so afraid of him. Even if to us, he's just a goofy little guy with depression. But as much as I hate to admit it, much like the devil, Hazbin Hotel does have its flaws. Or mainly one big, deadly sin. It's no secret that this show's pacing is beyond abysmal. We move at a breakneck pace and run through the plot points like the Flash running through hamburgers, which is to say, fast. The main reason for this is that Hazbin Hotel was unfortunately not given enough time to do what it wanted to do, which is so obvious, as you can see how they are absolutely cramming as much information and plot point into every episode as possible. The show really needed a full 13 episodes, or honestly 24, or if they've just doubled the length of the episodes from 20 minutes to 40, but that is unfortunately not what happened. So in order to fit everything they wanted into the restricted time frame, the Hazbin Hotel team had to get creative and thus made excellent use of environmental storytelling. Perfect examples of this are the sinners themselves. The sinners' demon forms take the inspiration from the life they lived before they came to hell, and thus just by looking at someone's character design, you can already learn a lot about them. Perfect examples are Husk, who was a gambler and a magician before he died, and Alistair, who was a radio host back in the 1920s who used to eat his victims and then bury what's left on a deer hunting ground. Until one day, he was mistaken for a deer by a group of hunters who shot him. This is why he has deer imagery. Another perfect example is the King of Hell himself. Lucifer is dressed in a nice suit and a big hat, which makes him resemble a ringmaster. Because if hell is a circus full of freaks, he is the ringmaster, who makes the circus animals jump through hoops and perform tricks. But the character designs aren't the only thing that give us information. The world itself gives us plenty of information that support the story. As an example, after watching the finale, I've seen a lot of people ask how the Hazbin Hotel gang managed to get so much angelic metal, as it's supposedly a very rare metal, so it doesn't make that much sense that Camilla would just have enough of it to supply an entire army. But to that I say, we literally see the angels just leave their weapons in hell all the time. If multiple angels leave their angelic weapons in hell multiple years in a row, then yeah, after a while, you've racked up quite a collection. And as to why they would leave their extremely powerful metal in hell, they don't care. We have seen time and time again that angels are used to being completely untouchable beings, who probably have unlimited angelic metal in heaven, so who cares if you drop your spear or just don't feel like taking it home after you've gotten a bunch of demon gunk all over it? Just leave it. Not like they're going to do anything with it. But hey, can you believe that we have spent 14 minutes this video talking about how great Hazbin Hotel was, but we haven't even gotten to the best parts? Yeah, crazy, right? Because aside from its deep world and fantastic characters, this is what really sets Hazbin Hotel apart. And it's the aspect of the show that almost everyone seems to be able to agree on being great. I am of course talking about the music. music. And I'm not just talking about the songs. No, before we get into those, can we just take a second to appreciate the absolutely goated OST this show has? The background music fits perfectly into the show and reinforces the aesthetic with hype, heavenly battle music, such as they had during the final battle, and the soft piano that plays during more emotional scenes. But of course, the main attraction is the songs themselves, which are obviously absolutely incredible. Even though I'm not in love with all the songs, I can still appreciate them for what they are and why others like them. But then there are some absolute bangers like Respectless, Hell is Forever, Loser Baby, and Poison. Seriously, Loser Baby and Poison are at the top of my most listened to songs on Spotify, and I have a feeling they will remain there. But aside from just being good songs sung by incredibly talented singers, the songs are also used to progress the story in an incredible way. Sometimes they actually happen in the world of Hazbin Hotel and grant us a great plot progression and character development, such as the absolute powerhouse of a song you didn't know, which takes up most of the ending of episode 6. This song is a conversation between the different parties of the Heavenly Court trial and serves to introduce the most important plot progression in the entire first season. Gives Lute and Adam an incredible verse and reference back to their original Hell is Forever song, and then makes it so one of the two seraphs who didn't know about the extermination turns on the other parties in heaven and joins Charlie to do a reversal of the original Hell is Forever song. The moment when Charlie and Emily join together to point out the hypocrisy of heaven is genuinely some of the best television I have ever seen. But plot progression isn't the only thing the songs do. While some songs move the story forward, others give us a look into a character's mind. The best example of this is definitely Poison, which focuses on Angel Dust and his absolutely brutal life as a porn star and borderline slave to the overlord Mr. Shitface. This song shows us what happens during the full night of porn shoots, but it's clear that no one but the audience can hear the song. We do, however, see the events of the night, and we see the mask that Angel puts on, while the lyrics talk about the power that Valentino holds over him, and how the situation he's living in will eventually be the death of him. But then we see something interesting happen. The song talks about how Angel disassociates and disappears from the situation as a coping mechanism when things are a bit too much. And as we see him go through a particularly brutal BDSM session, we see how the scenery changes from what is happening in the real world to a dance number Angel is doing. This is Angel trying to remove himself from the situation and trying to find a safe space away from the things that are happening to him in real life. But we still see the flashes of what's actually happening to him in the scenes behind Angel, and in how his dance moves parallel the sex positions he's put into. But at least he found some sort of escape until Valentino invades his escape and forces him back into reality. Because there is nowhere Angel can get away from Val, not even in his own mind. This song is absolutely heartbreaking, but also absolutely brilliant, as it demonstrates everything Hazbin Hotel does so well. It has incredible music and aesthetic, tells a fantastic story of a well-written character, and utilizes show, don't tell in a fantastic way. So, is Hazbin Hotel an underrated gem that the liberal media just isn't ready for? And was it unjustly given a much lower score than it actually deserves because people weren't ready to understand its greatness? Well, yeah. I think I've made it pretty clear that I absolutely adore this show, but at the same time, I do understand that this isn't everyone's cup of tea. I mean, if you don't vibe with the edgy art style and darker elements, then I understand why you don't want to sit through it, and I know that not everyone likes musicals, especially shows that embrace the musical side so passionately. And of course, the pacing is a genuine flaw. We definitely needed to give some plot points more time to breathe, as well as give the cast more time to hang out and work on redemption. But even so, I think the story was incredible and definitely worth checking out. I'm glad I watched Hazbin Hotel, and I can't wait for season 2. Please God, just give it more episodes. Please give it more episodes this time. I need longer, please. Also, I don't want to be that guy, but a lot of the cast barely hang out with each other and don't have enough time to establish their friendship. And we skip past a lot of the character development in the redemption, such as Angel Dust drug stashes and Sir Pench's mistrust of the other occupants. Complaints can so easily be solved with a comic. Seriously, that's literally why they exist. Just give us a comic where the cast hangs out and show them getting on with their redemption. Literally there. So easy. Thanks for watching, make sure to subscribe and like, I really want to get to 1k. Stay jinxed.